Mwashoke ni mwetu ekala chalo bonse konsoko muli komlo kutumfira. I think never nine mwale study kuma site mwisho. I think lelo ndefo anchita kufi address Bakambwili. Bakambwili for now apo bali nepo bali lelo pantu apa bipile sana. Apa kwebati, you should get to know that tapalipo nomba ubapelo muchinshi, tapalipo nomba unga betafe no kubetafe atimbwiri. Tapalipo, that you should know. I'll cite an example on the main wrong things that he has done to the Zambian populace, especially to his fellow politicians. I'll cite an example on me as Stadi Mwale. Bakambwili is the cause of what many politicians are going through, including myself and my family, for the past 3 years. Bakambwili, out of his own greediness, ubufi, kulimona mano na mapinda walabila, had expired to some extent. Iwe Kambwili akanwa kobe ekalelenga ukwebati nomomo le pitomo no kuipaisha ma brothers bobe kanwa kobe Kambwili badioba waipaisha ma brothers bobe badia tabalingiro kufa because those people were very very innocent and true worshippers of God. They were God-fearing people. Don't even blame anyone, not even the government of the day. No. Valia abantu ualengela tibafwe ni wevo. Kambwili unefibande fibipile sana. Elo ififibanda wokwete iwe ni we muinefi walifuika. So many people are complaining about your mouth. Kambwili, your mouth has killed a lot of people than the number of the brothers that you have killed. Kambwili, you were the one who was supposed to die in that accident. Because ichibanda ukwete, wengi bareli ilishanya. I'll cite an example of me as Stadi Mwale. Kambwili, you should know for sure that before elections of PF, forming government, I was spending money from my pocket. I was spending money from my pocket to grow the party, especially PF in Lambaland. In Lambaland, they did not recognize PF. Won't say PF Lambaland. All of you, you failed. All of you, you failed. Kutuala PF Lambaland. I went there with my own money in 2003. By the time it was 2006, PF was known. PF was known and had built a lodge there, which we used for campaign and for political gatherings. That you know. I'd taken all my cattle to my site there, where some of them, you came and got a lot of animals from me in Masaiti. And you took these animals, kulwansha mlandu wa
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on the Ubuntu channel. We are back on Let's Talk Politics, and my name is Lawrence, hosting you for the next 1 hour as we digest the happenings of the week. And we have started right on the spot. That is the sweet spot of the most trending issue in politics throughout the week. Probably this voice note came out on Sunday, Monday, somewhere there, and has been in circulation all this time. And here we are talking about it because that's what we do right on this program. This is Ubuntu, covering everything to do with politics, right from the start of the week up to today. And I'm not alone. I'm hosting Vom Kelabai as always, though we missed him last week. He's back. Vom Kelabai, good evening, and thank you so much for being with us this night. Vom Kelabai, I'm not sure if you are with us.
Sorry, I had muted myself. Good evening, Lawrence, and good evening, viewers. Thank you for having me.
We are glad to have you back. We missed you last week, though Mr. Wiseman was here and took us around the issues that we had last week, and we equally had an awesome time, I must say.
Oh, thank you. I was actually, I was not home. I was somewhere very far, so I came back, and at least I'm glad that the program went on, without me. So that was good.
Okay, thank you so much. And we start from the clip that we just played at the start of the program, and we hear uh, the former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Defense claiming that a lot of issues that many members of the Patriotic Front are facing are as a result of Dr. Chimba Kambwili's mouth, and even the death of his brothers are as a result of his own careless mouth. What is your take on that?
Wow. Thank you so much, Lawrence. The blaming game in PF will never end. We shall forever have the blame game. I don't know, is it my speaker, or I hear myself twice?
I'm not hearing you twice. Maybe let me try and mute myself.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay. No, the drama in the PF shall forever be on. You know, PF have a problem, and they are so much confused that they don't know where they are right now. They are busy emulating and wishing that whatever happened in America by bringing back a felonist or a convicted criminal back into the White House will happen in Zambia again. So they are trying to they are trying to point the fingers. Yes, Tishimba Kambwili is a politician, and everything that Tishimba Kambwili is facing today as a result of his political involvement. There was a time when PF ejected Kambwili, treated him like an outsider. What did they expect? Him to keep quiet when they treated him like he was nothing but an imposter, or somebody that really stabbed on their back? Kambwili's reaction, or Kambwili's whatever happening, is political. He stood at one point, even formed this party, that Savoy, that he left with Savoy. He was the president there. Why? Because of the manner in which PF treated Chishimba Kambwili under Lungu. You know, we all saw. We are not. This is not storytelling. We know what happened. Chishimba Kambwili was unceremoniously removed from or fired from PF, and that forced him to form his own political party. And what happened? These guys, when they study Mwale, did they expect him to start praising the PF after having treated them like that? I don't think the people understand politics. Yes, he did what he did. At one point, he even worked together with the HH. We all saw what happened. Okay, all these cases, I know that's what the complainant, the so-called Study Mwale, is complaining about. That because of the cases that Chimbakambwili was facing, has costed the death of his two brothers. On that one, you cannot blame Chimbakambwili. They were traveling, they joined willingly, they were giving Chimbakambwili moral support. They decided to jump on a vehicle together. They were not coerced, they were not forced. If they wanted, they ought to have stayed behind, but they chose to go with their brother, supporting their brother. And there's nothing wrong with that. And when an accident has happened on the way, you cannot turn around and say you are the reason why these people are dead. I think that is being unfair to the family members, and especially to those that lost their loved ones. It's very unfair, and this is where people should think or live beyond politics. Not if you tata tumunenu is money elo mulefo kuleta number politics. The best thing he could have done, this Study Mwale man, is to just keep a distance, right to Chimbakambwili, not making such funny videos or audios that will even go viral, because from Zambia twatema sana drama, because apenenga na wenenga ndefo yanje viral nala panga fi nalala ndafe something that will just create commotion, then I'll go viral, and we'll see the reason why you say viral, the numbers of viewers increases. And this is what these guys are good at. But PF, they are very good at making those viral moments, because that's where they thrive. Woofy, propaganda, spreading hate, division. You see that even when they are within their own party, within themselves, they're still wanting to find fault findings in their colleagues and now pointing fingers. This is definitely who they are. And that is what is going to make them stay permanently in the opposition.
Mkelabai, maybe let me just let's just look at some of the issues that Honorable Chimbakambwili brought about while he was in opposition. Um, One of them happens to do with Honorable Bowman Lusambo. Honorable Chimbakambwili was in the forefront, mentioning to say that the death of one NDC member who died at the by-elections in Luansha was actually hacked by Honorable Lusambo. And well, nothing seemed to have happened at that point in time. But this time around, those issues came back, and the Honorable Lusambo was convicted for unlawful wounding in that same instance. That's one example of the same things. Mr. Study Mwale also brings about his issue to say he Honorable Chimbakambwili stood on a hilltop to announce to the nation to say Mr. Study Mwale has bought a farm worth millions of dollars out of nowhere by just becoming a PS. Out of nowhere, he buys himself a very big farm worth millions of dollars, and he claims that he's actually has had that farm from time immemorial, according to him. And now he is lamenting that that farm has actually been grabbed from him by the ACC because of Honorable Chimbakambwili's mouth. Now, let's pick first the first instance I gave. Honorable Bowman Lusambo actually was incarcerated for 2 years just within this week. Would you say it's Chimbakambwili to blame for this?
Why would you blame Chimbakambwili when the case was in court and the due process took place? So how is Chimbakambwili implicated in this? If he is a witness, then the court will require him to go and give testimony. The charges were there was a complainant, and the docket was opened against the Bowman Lusambo, but because Bowman Lusambo was busy kissing or licking the boots of Edgar Changwalungu was the president, he was hiding behind that. You saw how many people avoided prosecution under Edgar Changwalungu. Those that have been so close to Edgar Changwalungu, they committed heinous crimes, but they were protected under the armpits of ECL because he was the president, and nobody would touch Bowman Lusambo. There was so much authoritative, like the Lusambo could tell anyone off at any time, at any day, without considering that these are human beings too. One day the tables or that position is going to end and he'll be just a merely individual. But now where we have the rule of law that is taking place, that is working now, all those cases that were swept under the carpet were brought back to life because dockets are there, they're open. And the criminal matter, that is what they mean. When you commit a criminal case, no matter how much you may try to hide, the very crime will come and haunt you, bring you back to justice. So what Lusambo is going through right now, he thought he was not going to be, he was untouchable, that he can get away with murder or he can get away with anything. But the law has visited him, and the court has delivered. They gave him an opportunity to be heard, but according to the judges and the magistrates, he could not convince them that what he was saying was correct, and hence him being found guilty. The prosecution proved their cases beyond reasonable doubt, and that is why Lusambo today is being prosecuted. But the problem is, they say justice delayed is justice denied. The matter has taken quite a long time ago, and many people, they've even forgot, because we Zambian tulalava na tulava na persecution abantu bali abo baipeye bali abachibululu babo, they are even, some of them, they even forgotten about it, not until they are reminded now that, oh my God, kanshi ni ya kesi ya abana ni abaipeye 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Mamona. So no bukali, and that's why today kule moneka kwati avena Lusambo, avena GBM, avena what's her name again? This lady was incarcerated for 1 year. Avena Mumbipiri. All this was just political persecution. It was not persecution. These were criminal cases. These guys committed criminal cases, the criminal charges, and they were charged and they were taken through the court system, where some were discharged, some were found guilty and have been convicted accordingly, respectively. So that is how the law should be, and that is how it ought to have been done under Edgar Changwalungu's leadership. But what did Edgar Changwalungu did last time? He swept AMA ministers back under the carpet to hide them from being persecuted or prosecuted. Why? He was defending his friends, because they were the same birds of the same feathers, you see. And today, when we have a true leadership that does not want any injustices, he's just opened up to say, allow the police to work independently, allow the law to take its own course. It is not HH who is pursuing these guys, not at all. These guys gave the government a reason to be prosecuted because they have criminal cases Why are they not arresting those guys from the MMD today? Because those guys who left MMD didn't have any criminal cases. Even some, those that had, they've been convicted. We have records. We see the law it has taken long, but at least there's justice. So I like the fact that those people who are criminals today or who committed the heinous crimes at the time when they were in power and they thought they were above the law, today the very law is visiting them. Olobale umfokwati they are being persecuted. It's only that abengina abalava kofi ubukali, each konko, the pain that these guys caused at the time. It has taken long. Many people have forgotten, they've moved on, but the law does not forget. The law has come back to haunt them. Even these guys who are currently in power, if they think they are clever and they are hiding and they are committing criminal offenses and they think they can get away with anything, they should think twice, because the law knows no border, knows nobody. The law will always
Now, if
crime and
we
visit
look
you.
at if we look at the other instance that Mr. Stadi Mwale gave, where he claims that some of the belongings that he was accused of having acquired during his tenure of office as PS in the Ministry of Defense are actually properties he's had for a very long time, even at the time when PF was being formed. He also claims that he actually never for once ever used his official vehicle from the Ministry of Defense because he already had cars that he felt were comfortable enough. And as such, he feels that he feels betrayed by Honorable Chimbakambui, that someone he claims or allegedly used to help out at a time when he was trying to set up his political career, turns around and stabs him in the back with those kinds of allegations. He also alleges that he gave Honorable Chimbakamburi some kettle to help him in his campaigns, to cook food and the like for his soldiers back in Luansha.
Mm.
Now, obviously, this is he said, I said that kind of arrangement. But what is your take on this?
You see, when you are cornered and when you have been given an opportunity to present to prove otherwise, and you know that you are now cornered, you are guilty. These are the games that people would rather resort to. Blaming game, trying to find someone to put a blame on. I am going through this because of somebody. But the SEC cannot just grab a farm. If this man obtained this property in good faith, the SEC would simply give it back, because they have given them enough time to go and present evidence to say, this is how I acquired, this is the amount of money that I earned, and these are the tax returns that this is the money that I paid for the tax on this particular day. But what is catching these guys? The reason why the SEC is busy arresting them, they don't show any of those taxes, monies that have been paid when you build or you buy, you purchase a colossal huge of properties, helicopters, farms, land and stuff. They don't have any documentation or trail to show where they paid money to the government, because the government has receipts. They have records. And when you go and say, no, this is my farm, I bought it before I even joined PF, well, show us the records. If you end this legitimately, then the government won't come for you, because that property is yours. But they are failing. The reason why the SEC is getting those properties, because they have been given ample time. Could you kindly prove to us if this property you legitimately own it, or Show us where you got, what was your source of income at the time. But when you give such information that doesn't tally with your source of income, you are bomba as a government worker who are for a 10 pin. You know, now quarter property worth 20, 40 million. Balolesha ma bank tawasenda kona loan. Balolesha ma company wale bomba the ama returns, the tax returns, ama shani wale ripida, it was annually. Tarefika na pandalama wakwete. So those are things that are really putting our guys our trouble. Why? Because the monies that they were using, it was a lot of money, and they were paying almost nothing to the government. That's why today they are being cornered. Because tabakwete ama papers yalelangisha okutira ti amayanda abakulaya ama mansions, when you value the property that these guys have, goes beyond their earnings, goes beyond their so-called companies that are formed within a day, and tomorrow you start receiving 200 million, 400 million, when you can't even show how the company, what kind of business you're doing. When you look at even the caliber of a person that claims to have been making 200% profit of the company, they have no clue even how to do the simple bookkeeping. Tabakwetena idea. But these are the chaps who are busy floating around with the cash everywhere, you know. So when you do that, there's a system in place. The system is simply clear and telling you, show us how you got this money, where. That's not a crime, and that's not persecution. When you are being asked by the government, where did you get the money to buy this farm? Because you're supposed to pay us this tax. You know, every land in Zambia is vested in the name of the president, and there are records. And then you don't show from the time you owned the property, even the time you bought the property. You look at what you were earning at the time. Tawakwetena, you know, ni fivalelanda tawakwetena nguchimo munganda wale fola, you know, nempia wale fola tashale moneka nukumoneka tu wale fola mpia shaman. Then suddenly mambo kushitama helicopters. Iwo muntu ule wakwetaka brothel, and suddenly mambo kumona ama boats ama helicopter ama shani ama jets. Where is the money coming from? Because that business can't bring such profit, can't make such profits. And if they do make those profits, but where is the evidence to show that they are paying so much to government? Because those business people, they pay tax now, whatever. Mamba vale mona ama billions, ama trillions. Government not even a 1,000 kwacha from the very companies that are registered within the jurisdiction of our country. Awe bane bela tuve party no like Shimba Kambwiri was just yes.
I think the downside of this particular audio is where he says he wished it was Wakambwili who died in that accident and not the brothers. Have we reached that level where we start wishing each other death?
Well, that goes to show the caliber of the people that at one point we authorized to superintend over our country affairs, and today they want to claim holy, you know. And you see them Muma church, they are like holding Bibles like Yesu, you know, they are holy. Kanshi namwimwena mwevene muleyimwena mwevene muleyumfuira mwevene, you know, that these people are not the people that you think they are, you know. They are hypocrites, you know. They are busy holding the Bible on the other hand, and on the other hand, they are busy wishing their fellow member, party member, to make matters worse, their own fellow brother within the party. Now, imagine if they can do that to their fellow brother of the same party, what do you think they will do to a person in a different political party? It's worse. So that's why we're telling them to say these guys, they hate HH HH and the UPND like no man's business, you know. Because if they can hate themselves like that and wishing each other death, imagine what they can do to an outsider. You cannot start wishing somebody dead, dying like Oloni politics, Vane, Tefio. You can't do that. You know, you don't see people going kuri na chirufa tayari ukanda niwevo walengati abena sama bafwe nomba na wewe ne tulechita wish you ukufa awe, because chirufa tayari was not even connected to, was not there when those people died. He went and gave false information to police, and the police acted basing on his allegations. When Kampyongo, when Lusambo bene, you heard them, you were there. Then lelo twambo kutuka chirufa tayari tushe kapokolo wala shiro muntu and stuff, and and start wishing chirufa tayari ukufwa, because not wishwa ewalengere, but we can't wish him to die. We want him actually to live longer so that he can see how justice should prevail. You know, Chimba Kambwili has not committed any crime by joining politics or revealing that somebody stole or somebody benefited from the government. The best thing that he can do, this man, if he wants to prove Chimba Kambwili wrong, was to sue Chimba Kambwili in a civil suit, in a civil court for defamation, ngalefwa, to prove that what Chimba Kambwili was alleging was not true. But if the Anti-Corruption Commission has taken...
He has actually stated that he plans on suing Chimba Kambwili. He has actually made that clear.
Yeah, but you don't go on the Palupiri Noambo Kushta announce that and therefore Kushta sue someone. You know, let him let him just fight his battle for the farm, for the properties that the SEC took. If at all he has a case, he cannot win. If Chimba Kambwili was right, and let's say, for example, let's just get it as an example. Let's say, for example, Chimba Kambwili's allegations were correct, and then this guy loses his farm, okay? And because he failed to prove to the Anti-Corruption Commission that the farm was obtained legitimately, and then he goes and sues Chimba Kambwili, who was a whistleblower, or rather who reported this matter, who just raised out this issue, and sued to say, I'm suing you for defamation because I've suffered the loss of my properties.
Now,
I think the court will simply throw out that case. Takuri no kumla ndoko, yeah, because he won't succeed, because if it's true, you can't sue someone for something that is truthful. And defamation, defaming for what? Ngachishinka. You can't. You lose out your defamation law. You can't. But if it was a lie, and then through that lie, and he suffers the loss of his properties and everything, then he has the right, yes, to sue Chimba Kambwili. Simple.
If you are Chimba Kambwili, you are in this stage where you lost your brothers who are trying to escort you, and they died, and you hear somebody coming out at you in this manner. If putting yourself in his shoes, how does that feel? How do you react to that?
Well, Chimba Kambwili, of course, he may have said things that he's not proud of, but he does not deserve to be wishing him dead, or rather mocking him because he has lost his brothers. That loss was terrible. You know, it ought to have been avoided. Unfortunately, it happened. There's nothing anyone can do. You cannot reverse that. The cause of death, of course, was accident. Probably there was speeding. If Chibakambwili was the ones driving, maybe I would say yes. He oversped and he killed, and the vehicle overturned, and then eventually two brothers died. Yes, I would say Chimbakambwili is partially to blame. But if they were just merely escorting him to give him moral support, and on the way they die. So why should Chimbakambwili be held accountable? So abo balifo kuleta fyama problems mu family yakwa Chimbakambwili, because now the family of the deceased, they will now be looking at Chimbakambwili's family to say, you are the reasons why we are now widowed or we are orphans, yet wawishenu achiri moyo, so they'll start to back and forth rambo kulwa. So he is just trying to ignite fire mu family, but I don't think it will work because they know the story. It's not Kambwili. Kambwili never wished to kill his brothers, and Kambwili may now take it up upon himself to talk to his lawyers over these threats and these revelations. Probably it's not even Chimba Kambwili who went to report to, who talked about these farms or whatever, If he said it, yes, he said, Chimba Kambwili said a lot of things. You remember, he's also convicted on tribal hate speech and other things. He has that record now. So this is why we tell the politicians, be careful what you say, because one day what you've been saying will come and be used against you tomorrow, because you regret. So you need to be very careful. Think through before you say things, not because mwarite mokulanda muli amwine mwala ndefing if you like to hurt other people and may affect your relationship between those people, like what we are seeing today within the
And
political party of PF.
just in passing, before we go to the other issue, Honorable Boma Nusambo convicted for unlawful wounding, and then he finds himself facing some other lawsuits where he allegedly dribbled some UPND MP by telling them that he was selling a house and received a payment of 850,000 kwacha for the said house, which was actually seized by the ACC. Now, the troubles for Honorable Bowman Nusambo, is it surprising?
It's the caliber, man. It's a caliber. Like I say, the caliber of the person that you are talking about, yeah, it's questionable. You know that gentleman, that it was just by a mistake for him to even be considered a minister at one point. You can't, and that's why we tell these leaders to say, when you're appointing people, please be careful. You don't just appoint somebody just because he belongs to your political party, he supported you, he was there with you in the trenches. No, you need to appoint people on merit, because of the background of Akabachi Balusambo. Ni favored by minister, but look at his behavior, his demeanor. When he was given authority, look at the manner in which he was running around with authority in his hands. He was busy abusing, bullying the citizens, at one point. We all saw him. That's why today we even call him a bulldozer. To me, calling him a bulldozer was just a mistake. It would have been, instead of B, F, because to me, what he was talking about was completely not what he purported to be. No, it was just by luck. Fidafi never alungu basali after ensamble yamfa. Ema mistake to panga kulasala abantu through emotional. This is what happens. Mwayaleeta omuntu ayawo nawula ekyalo amishire enkongole kwatifa ekyalo ni ekyalo kwe yakisha broke, then bena bafumamu rich. Who does that? Who does that? And today they're even mocking you, the Zambian people. We are coming back to come and correct this. Meanwhile, Umunenu is busy trying to unfold ama mistakes mwapangire, to clear those mistakes and bring some kind of sanity, you know. Elo lelo you are busy kumuchita, you know, trying to bring him down. I don't understand the way people think sometimes. It's anyway, we are in a democratic dispensation, so we need to accept the fact that people are ready to, they can come back and contest whatever they wish to do. But Lusambo had it coming, and there will be more cases that will come. That for him to go and start getting money over a property that was already seized, this is the work of AMA lawyers back where I think these are the chaps that have been misled. Now AMA lawyers, you know, muleba mwana kwati bali kwata sana shani he was getting advice from his lawyers probably, and that's why I'm 800 penal. Now it's you are creating a problem instead of solving a problem. You are creating the more bigger problem on yourself. Now there will be a criminal charge that will be slapped against him, obtaining money by false pretenses. Is it his property? Yes, but was the property at the time when he was selling it, was it, does it still belong to him, or is still under investigation? Why would you sell a property that is still under investigation? What does the law say? You know, now Wavaleshtama properties, you cannot just buy properties that has a lot of encumbrances on it. Some properties, palia mama malilo, valaluila popansa mboliamfwa, you know, this property is palia makavieti yamanshi. So what you do is, before you buy, you purchase. Don't just rush and start giving money. Now aba MP abo katingaliwa MP aba basendero MP abo nabo is also to blame, you know. And Lusambo also took advantage of him, because how can you, and you call yourself an honorable and intelligent person, you go and start paying money when you have not, you haven't conducted a little bit of a search over the property. That Lusambo's money is, Lusambo's properties is in a public domain, that these are properties are being seized. He's under investigation. A property which is questionable, that's what you're going to buy. Now we know you are a problem. And then you may be considered foolish, because how can you just dish out money like that when you know that this person is facing a criminal charge? And to make the matters worse, you are MP by UPND. Now these are the chaps who were busy stealing. Kuli umuntu lesa suspect that alleged to be a thief. That's where you go and put money. Honestly, olota paso swa. That was foolish for him to do that. He was cornered or connived, you know. Lusambo probably, he just used these clever ways of, how do I lure people in? Because that's what criminals do. If they know that they're about to be caught, they will start selling off, liquidating all the things that will tie them to be incriminated. They will just liquidate them, get rid of them quicker. So and they get money. Or even use it for the passport to travel out of the country. You know, you are going to give someone who is facing a criminal charge. You know, it is in a public domain. I said, I was strict. How? You knew. Unfortunately, you knew. I think that case, to me, it won't even hold any water, because it's just through his monies mumesh. If you to abantu before taulashita property, kaviye ni ku Ministry of Lands conduct a search. Olwama paper mulemo nali mwishina lya yo winole fo kumishenganda. What if inga ama paper alia na kwata mortgage ilia property na ikwata mortgage pali ba bank na bakwata po pali collateral property? Or what if ilia property our family walelwira watch family na abikapo injunction stopping any transaction from taking place. Now we capo caveat pari property or property ilimuma questionable. Yamu, there's a lot of issues before you do anything over that property. Kaviye, Minister of Land, conduct a search. You pay a fee. Ba Minister of Land balakulembera fyonse filipa property nowa sendapo property nowa national lipo nga liri mu banki musha balamirembera bamipera amapepa aya mwayimwena property iri clean or tairi clean. After yaba clean wino that's when you can go walipire mpya, not wasenda fyo mpya walipira ati ndefo kushita plot or property vala kufyenga vaza kunyengerera uzaluzapo chendrama zako for nothing. So be clever, conduct a search. Kaviye ku Minister of Land, conduct a search pali property yo, is it a clean property? Tapali ama issues pali property ndefo kushita, because that money you are using, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where you spend money, you need to be clever. Open your mind before you go and start purchasing things. Conduct a search.
Bob Clever, I want us to go to the last issue because I know we're going to take quite some time here. It's to do with the Tonse Alliance, which conferred former Republican President Edgar Chagwa Lungu as its sole candidate for 2026 elections. Now, we are seeing a jump of the Lungu faction of the Patriotic Front from the UKA Alliance to Tonse Alliance, and allegations that are coming from other members of the UKA Alliance is that actually Tonse Alliance is supposed to be called the NECA Alliance because they are on their own.
Yeah. This is what happens when you have run out of ideas and you are failing to give on power, and you want to, that you are a finished product, but you still want to remain relevant. And you are coming up with all these. These are kicks of a dying horse. We know exactly what is happening. We know why Mr. Lungu came back into active politics. Why is he coming back to politics? He told you and me that he's coming back because of his family that have been prosecuted. So he's coming back wanting to, if anything, by chance, nga babapera akafulo ba Zambia futi babwesha pati babwererepo balungu, then balefu okwisa kita stop imilandu abakashi babo balefesinga n'abaana babo balefesinga n'aba nabo abali abo bakita suspect ama cases ya kwiba. So bonse bali n'abali abo bakaka bonse bana Charity Katanga abena GBM abena all those balefu aya balungu nga bayisa bese bakiteshani reverse bese babakite pardon bese bafunye nokusa pepe kabali ama judges ama magistrate abakitashani abalesta convict, trying to come and teach a lesson those that are against him. He told you and me pamarali bakwete balungu, that he was even telling ama civil servants that he's coming for them and they should behave, that if he comes to power he's going to deal with those bakula bakonka mayanda. It is from him, his mouth. And the Mwema Zambian, Mulei Umfuila, Mulei Mwena, and yet you want to ask, wait, today Bafaya Balungu, Babwele Repo, no, he's not coming to help you, to help this country for economical emancipation. ICU economy, to come and create jobs, to come and reduce the minimum or to do all. That's not his on top of his agenda. His agenda is to come and stop, to come and rescue his friends, including his families, from corrupt charges, corrupt cases. He wants them to be left alone so they can use the money they stole peacefully. That's his main point. Now, coming back to his formation of this alliance, look at the people that are forming the so-called alliance. Who are they? Do you see new faces there? You see the same people that failed their fellow friend, the same people that costed them an election, that costed them power. They are the same people coming back, claiming that they are now born again. Old habits bane die hard. Uwakalema takaleka. Mwebabemba mwalilanda kale. Tuwakalema takaleka. Abamulemo naba. Abamulemo nati balefu okubwela. Bantu bamobene balabene abalemi ponona. Sorry, but I'll just say. Balabene abalemi vila. Balabene abalemi pera tuma CDF ka 1.5 or 1.6 million the whole year or 2 years yapita. Eba balefwayo okubwela. Okay? Balabene abalemi street. Eba lefwayo eshi. Fwayo okubwela. Kutati besi bamikiteshani babweke shepo fintu bachitere. Balabene baleshtendeke shadula. Balabene abalengo kutira ati twinkali nenkongole lelo. Isho enkongole isho chilikuwa twali shibika fe mu closet. That's why na bena HS tabale land up. Bena HS bachitefa okay ishinkongo isen tushibule tushibike fe mu isom mu closet tuisaleko for now to pemeko then tuchiteko organize chalo chesu bwino and nga twavako nempia nga twakwatako twavako bachinondo. That's when we can now go back tubule otupia tulia twamba okubwesha one by one kubene bandalama nomba pona yo nishite kapita tebe na echecha bakapwisha shonse ndalama okulipiresha ma other political parties alesa kuntanshi mu future maybe 10 years from now or 20 years from now we'll still be paying indalama basha balungu 20 years so tukalalipire nkongole basha banani balungu na group yabo. So efira tulanda ati ukuona ole chalo bachite ukuona oloku te kwesho kubaleta futi aba bantu ati seni mwise mkongole po eba kashitisha nombe chalo ababene because tukaba broke echalo will be declared a bankrupt state. Ikava nomba wako ni wako WW ukuimwena weka Muzambia takuli ati government tabakafiro okulipira abasoja bakafiro okulipira ama teachers ama civil servants bonse tabakola abalipira empya because takuli government na station ina iliba broke nga mulefo okubweshaba mukadabwa tukaingira tukaba broke as a nation. Will be a laughing stock. Will be refugees in our own country or running away from our country going to neighboring countries. Now, I'm South Africans, now bapena, tabale fire. I'm a foreigners. So where are you going to go? Where are you, the Zambian people, going to run to? So this is what these guys are trying to do, to come back and destroy even further. They want to claim that they are clean. They want to claim that they are holy. They want to bury the mess that they created. They want to bury it under the carpet because they are known for sweeping dirty under the carpet and pretending kwati takuli imwe Zambian takuli fichitike bale mifishira twashire dabwa bonse kanshi bali shire nkongole sha fuel imwe twaleshite nko fuel at cheap kanshi yali ninkongole amalight kanshi yali ninkongole fionse. What else? So these guys are coming back and forming. You can tell the way they are jumping from one place to another, like a monkey jumping from one branch to another. This goes to show that these are not serious people. They are clueless on what they're about to do, what they want to do, and how they want to come back and take over the government, even if you give them power today, because they have no clue even where are they going to start from. They will have no idea. So this is why we need to be very careful as Zambians, and you should not be deluded. They should not be delusional, thinking that what happened in America, fika chitikana mzambe, patu nde umfotuma innuendos. Hey, America, with Donald Trump. You think it's going to happen in Zambia. You are lying yourself. You are lying through your teeth. You know, you are just trying to make yourself comfortable. That mwe mulale bwino kunganda. So mwe mfwe chikonko. Because ukufirwa kwena ba
Okay, Labai,
PF.
for a layman who doesn't understand all these things, you keep talking about the debt restructuring, the debts that were left, and things like that. They actually feel that they were better off in the patriotic front because life was more affordable there. If they compare the prices of commodities, it looks like it's where we are coming from is actually better than where we are right now, and it's like trying to convince someone who used to have 3 meals in a day just a few days ago, just a few years ago, and can barely afford two now because the salary that they have has now become so small as a result of the increase in prices of almost everything. We can go by the the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, that is JCTR, where which gives us the monthly food basket cost, and it's been on the rise since the UPND came into office. Now, what exactly do you think the UPND has to do to convince everybody in the country to understand the current situation, to say we are actually trying to fix a mess that is there? Because people don't understand, some people don't understand there is any mess anywhere.
Yeah, that's the problem when the majority of your people are not, for better of a lack term, is they are uneducated. They don't want to understand their own government, their own ways, where the government gets the money from, because the government is you, the people. What is it that we are doing to produce, to have money in our country? If the mines were closed, Valungu liquidated ama mines. Indalama tashale moneka mumayanda, because there was indalama sharia mubantu individuals. They were killing ama institutions. Governmental systems were being killed. You know, we were not producing takwali ama industries. Takwa. We're still struggling up to now. Ama investors, they were running away. The monies that you claim they were busy having money, Mumayanda, it was because of the same money that was being used for the government money. The people's money was barely in wrong people, in few hands, and few individuals were the PF, only those that belong to a particular party, not the rest of the country. Because some of us who were in the opposition by that time, who did not belong to PF, we can't tell the difference. Actually, we feel right now there's more freedom, you know, and there's people now are trying to think now to work hard, not tantame. You know, that's what happened when you are used to ukutantamine chintu cho taubombe. What the Akainde is trying to do this time around is telling you and me to say, look, no one is going to come and put money or put food on your table. You need to work hard. Kabieni kalimeni, kabieni kafuaeni nchito, kabieni ami swirama companies. And above all, the best thing that he did was, look, our country is full of illiteracy. The illiteracy level is quite high. How do we deal with this? By introducing the caveat, to remove the caveat that is restricting our Noxta acquire education. Let us take out this tumoni. Ngatwai sula School live for free. We educate the nation. This is an investment. You cannot get AMA results within 3 years. This is a 10-year. How long does a child go to school in a country? And how long does a child develop? It needs patience. Because if you want to start seeing the dividends right now, then you must be doing something wrong somewhere. We were supposed to enjoy these dividends if the PF had worked, had brought sanity in a government, and we had money in a country. For the past 10 years, we ought to have had a lot of development in our country, but nothing. We are not having any money coming into our country. We can't even produce. We are not exporting anything apart from copper. Now, your copper ought to rely on. Remember what happened. Ama mines bali sele. Ama miners, they lost their jobs. So I don't understand when people are saying, twale kalabwino. Twale kalabwino muri balungu. And lero tulechula. Aiso omuntu amiswila mine. Aiso omuntu amieba kutira ati lekeni abana benu batwaleni kuma school for free. Pro bono. Tamwakula lipiro waningwe. Aiso omuntu amieba kutoke sintu chite so. Ayama CDF indalama bale vika matumbai. Lekeni tubule indalameshi. Tupele ama constituencies ya 150 chakuti constituencies. They are getting that 30 million, almost $1 million each year from a constituent level. Not in an individual. Umuntu umo, bena lusambo, bale foreshe mpia market. Akainde nakana. Awe, ishinda lama. That's why wale iva. That's why Mulelanda no kona twaleli avuino, because that was your money. Mwe vantu osho wale pela fiama cadres to go and beat. That's why mwale pumwa lionse. People had the authority. The cadre can go to Dubai and buy a vehicle, bring into without paying tax, anything. There was just commotion. There was no proper system. And that is what they are missing. But now there's order. Umuntu aisa alemipe, and we are living a true reflective life, because fuel today tapa true reflection price takuri let's subsidize it, because turebole mpia turefisa abantu turefishira abantu natkwate Kongole. Right now we are in this mess because that is what used to happen. You are hiding to your people, you are lying to your people. Bamone ati turekala wino turemipele fia chipa, yet you are busy accumulating a mountain of Nkongole. What are you going to do? How are you going to pay them? Imilandu shari mumakoti. Afunye imilandu mumakoti sentulanshani. Bane. Pantu muli mumakoti twalali pila nempi shingi. Sentulanshani. Let's resolve this matter execuria. Let us do this and this and this and this. Basuminana. By Sulama mine. Ayo ama nan shaft ya bale pompa mesh, bale funya mesh, so that people go back and start mining. This is a process. It's not something that you can achieve only 3 years. Zambians were too much in a hurry. And once we make these people hurry, they are going to crash because they are going to make mistakes. They are human beings, remember? And when they crash, what happens? Who is going to be a collateral damage? Ni fwevo to our own children and ourselves. Because we were forcing them to do bad things. So we need to exercise patience, so that we can see development coming. Now, development, investors in Gavaisa, they need to work first, isn't it? They have to work to produce. And when we produce, then there's marketing season. There's first of all manufacturing, cultivating, and then start producing. Start producing, mwafoya market mwaya mukushitisha nayo kulia no monsi omu mulaba ama stages mulaba procedure namo and inshita irapita namo. So when you start marketing, it takes time. Nga bashita, sometimes bashita pankongole. Nga baisa leta futi pa, so it takes time. It's not going to be a 1-year program. It's not going to be a 5-year program. This is going to be a huge project that are going to take a long time
Okay.
for us to start receiving our dividends.
Let me just give you a few minutes to just give us your concluding remarks so that we can wind up the program.
Okay. Thank you so much. I have already spoken much, but the thing is, I want to open our brothers and sisters back home in Zambia to advise them to say, we are currently in safe hands. This current government that we have already has exhibited some kind of seriousness and commitment in what they are exhibiting to us today. We can see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We had lost hope, Vane. To be honest with you, we had lost hope. Things were not going to be okay had our brothers continued in PF to continue today. There was going to be chaos, and this government came at the right time to rescue us from these issues, from these difficult, challenging times. What we see today in the increase of commodities and everything, we have to understand that we are moving with time. We are in 2024, and the world, we don't live in isolation as a country. We do not produce oil. We do not produce things that we depend on. We only depend on, the only thing that we depend on, we can produce today is the maize that we say we can, meal. So ubunga wena, it's on us. We can still manage to bring the prices down or to make ubunga available in abundance. We can, especially when we have good rains. You know what happened last year. You know what happened. There was no rain. We were having drought. And there was a declaration of a national disaster. So on that aspect, we should also look at opportunities. How do we move on from this to point B? Tunataka kuita malaiti, mwalishi wata malaiti na menshfiendela pamo. Fuel na yon chimochine, because tatwa kwa ta fuel tushitafia na ifo bene. So panomba na basta invest, a lot of investment have been put in place. So apa filech tashani digesting. Very soon we are going to start receiving ama nutrition, ama dividends. But it takes time. It requires your commitment as Zambians and the government in place also. We want to tell the government in offices today to be communicating. We want to see the challenges that the government is facing must be communicated to the Zambian people so that they know what is happening. The progress, not just progress. Talk also about the challenges that you are facing.
Okay.
Because we Zambians, we're expecting a lot from the government. So the government needs to also be proudly talk about the challenges that they are facing. If they are facing a problem, let them be open up to the public. Now, if we're public, we should learn to understand, not criticize all the time, and be dependent on the government to provide solutions for us for our own small little problems. Mayanda, we can do this, and we can also help the government in place. Whoever president you bring on this planet will still need you, your contribution, your input as a country, as a citizen of a country. Let me end here.
All right. Thank you so much for having found time to join us on this edition of Let's Talk Politics. Thank you so much, Omkelabai, for finding time to always be with us and share your views and explain to us that some of these things that are happening. We also value your participation. To everybody that has been joining us, we thank you so much for your consistency and for following Ubuntu channel as a whole. Remember tomorrow to join Namwinga as she brings you a moment of grace tomorrow at 6 p.m. right on Ubuntu channel. Remember, this is Ubuntu where we love live programming. Good night and hope to see you next week again, same time, same place. From all of us here, bye bye.
Thank you.